Okay. And it also lets you know that this paper has been around since, I believe, 1977. So this isn't a pipe dream. And as we go through this document, you will instantly know that some of the techniques which he has been describing for over 30 years have been practiced on all of us. So this guy isn't playing. He's dead serious. He's describing techniques which are already affecting us, so we ought to pay attention. So here we go. My own image as an occult personality added fuel to the wildfire. Mind war was now touted by the lunatic fringe as conclusive proof that the Pentagon was awash in black magic and devil worship. Well, it is. Okay, I can prove that. So don't hit me up with the level of lunatic fringe and conspiracy theory. Because when you take a pentagram, the core of it is a pentagon. And the pentagon is in alignment with the North Star. And the logo for the United States Air Force is identical to the geometric form of the Baphomet with its horns. And the United States Air Force basically got off the ground at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or JPL, also informally called the Jack Parsons Laboratory.
Jack Parsons?
Yes. Okay, Jack Parsons was buddy-buddy with L. Ron Hubbard.
Yes.
Who is buddy-buddy with Werner von Braun, who was not just but the top Nazi rocket scientists.
Right.
So I just described a link between other branches and other practitioners of the occult, and a link to the Nazi movement, and a link to geometric representations of the occult in about 3 sentences. So I've just destroyed Michael Aquino's claim that anyone who thinks that this is based in the occult must be some kind of conspiracy kook. Sorry, Michael, you failed. Okay, now let's keep going because this guy's dead serious. Mind war reverses this sequence. Psychological means for achieving victory, essentially through convincing the enemy that he really wants to bring his national policies into harmony with ours, are fashioned in support of basic political goals. In other words, the goal of mind war is to convince the enemy to act in your best interest. Okay. Now, page 3, because we got to keep moving here. Okay, top of page 3. The advantage of mind war is that it conducts wars in non-lethal, non-injurious, and non-destructive ways. Essentially, you overwhelm your enemy with argument. You seize control of all the means by which his government and populace process information to make up their minds, and you adjust it so that these minds are made up as you desire. Everyone is happy, no one gets hurt or killed, and nothing is destroyed. Now, the question I have for you guys is, do you think this can be applied domestically?
No way.
No. Okay, and it gets very specific here. Right in the middle of page 3, it was with some fascination that I saw specific of its prescriptions applied during the first Gulf War, and recently even more obviously during the 2003 invasion of Iraq. In both instances, extreme PSYOP, in other words, psychological operations, was directed both against the object of the attack and upon U.S. domestic public perception and opinion, in 2003 to the extent of embedding journalists with military units to inevitably channel their perspectives and perceptions. So let's just pause. This occult military master is telling you that you're being brainwashed. Believe it. He's not playing. Okay? Now, every plan has a weakness, and it would be well for the controllers to acknowledge the weaknesses of their plans so as to minimize their weaknesses to maximize the potential efficiency of their plans. And here's the weakness. Third last paragraph on page 3. So we're still on page 3. Invoking as it does the most intense emotions, 9/11, and commitments of its audiences, Mind War must deliver the goods as they are judged by the target audiences. If the ethical values, I can't believe this, the Satanist talking about ethical values, of those audiences are not respected, if Mind War is used only in the service of ulterior motives and objectives, the resulting disintoxication can be socially shattering. Now, that sentence is key because what it says is you have to create a belief that is so pervasive and so intense that it couldn't help but be believed by the population. Because if the population gets a whiff that it may not be true, then everything backfires. Okay? He's not playing. Let's see. Oh, page 4. This is where it gets really good. We're almost halfway through the document. Second paragraph, page 4. Psychotronic research, by the way, that is the branch of science that has everything to do with how your brain is a bioelectric matrix, which can be modified chemically and electromagnetically and visually through the television. Okay, so when he says psychotronic, that's what he's talking about. Psychotronic research is in its infancy. That's right, they're still working on it. But the U.S. Army already possesses an operations weapons system designed to do what Lieutenant Colonel Alexander would like extrasensory perception to do, except that this weapons system uses existing communications media. It seeks to map the minds of neutral and enemy individuals and then to change them in accordance with U.S. national interests. In other words, he's saying we're doing a mind job on people, electromagnetically, biochemically, visually. He's saying it's working. He's bragging about it. He's also saying we got a long way to go. He's not playing. Okay, page 5. He defines what Mind War is. And that's in the top center of the page in bold. Mind War is the deliberate, aggressive convincing of all participants, that means you and me, in a war that we will win that war. In other words, it's actually not propaganda. It's actually about creating a belief. And in this case, the creators of the belief actually believe it themselves. They believe the lies. Because if they didn't, then they wouldn't be as effective. And in case you think I'm making that up, you got to go to, let's see, page 7. Page 7. Oh, actually, I'm incorrect. I got to go to page 8. Then I'll jump back to page 7. On page 8, in the two small paragraphs or paragraphs in small type, the two bottom ones, it says it outlines the difference between propaganda masters who don't believe their own propaganda, as in Joseph Goebbels of the Nazi Party, and mind war masters who actually believe their own lies. And that is the difference between psychological operations and mind war. Mind war is constructed by people who believe their own lies. So they themselves are hypnotized. So this makes it multi-layered, and we'll break down the techniques of that are used by people, by broadcast journalists on the news, which I see right through. I said in the last broadcast, I can tell how an issue is going to be presented on the TV depending on what channel I'm going to watch. And then I actually watch it unfold in front of my eyes. And I have a list here of 25 techniques. That's how significant it is. Okay, so again, mind war is different from propaganda in that it is carried out by people who believe their own lies. That's what makes it so dangerous. Let's see. Let's just go right to the end because we got a lot more to talk through tonight. Last two paragraphs, page 9. For the mind to believe in its own decisions, it must feel that it made those decisions without coercion. Coercive measures used by the operative, consequently, must not be detectable by ordinary means. He's telling you that's where the electronic media comes in, or electronic manipulation of the media comes in. Last paragraph. Existing psychological operations identifies purely sociological factors which suggest appropriate idioms for messages. Doctrine in this area is highly developed, and the task is basically one of assembling and maintaining individuals and teams with enough expertise and experience to apply the doctrine effectively. So let's just pause there. When I go to CNN and the camera pans wide to beyond just the anchor desk, and I see decorated soldiers in fatigues, who's running the media? It's not the anchorman. Okay, it's the military-industrial complex. And what's even worse is, I know that the military present at the CNN headquarters believe the lies. They believe it. Just as a person on drugs believes they can fly. There's no logic anymore. There's no arguing with it anymore. It's total takeover. Okay. And here comes the last sentence. This, however, is only the sociological dimension of target receptiveness measures. There are some purely natural conditions under which minds may become more or less receptive to ideas, and mind war should take full advantage of each phenomena as atmospheric electromagnetic activity, air ionization, and extremely low frequency waves. So let's just pause there and dissect what he just said.
Let's do that. Wow.
He just said that the television is not the primary frontier of this total propaganda takeover created by people who believe the lies. He says, we're going to use the entire Earth. We're going to interfere with the electromagnetic spectrum of the Earth, the air ionization of the Earth, and extremely low frequency waves all over the Earth. We're going to use the Earth as a vehicle for our mind war.
This is what you were talking about earlier with food, water, and air.
That's right. Now that I've told you something about Michael Aquino, and now that we've gone through 20% of that white paper, do you think he's fooling around?
No, absolutely not.
Do you think he knows exactly what he's doing?
Of course.
Yes. So do you think I could weave this into a Sunday school lesson? Not a chance.
Oh, man.
So here I am sitting in a pew day after day, and God bless my church for it, and sometimes, the message turns to the topics that I happen to know a thing or two about, and I'm going, just biting my tongue, and I just can't say anything, and I just have to focus on the truth of the gospel that is being proclaimed, and I have to be satisfied at that, because I know people in general will not be willing to listen to what I just told you guys.
Right.
And that's the way it is.